What are you going to do with strips that are just too thin for patchwork? I've got an answer. Hey crafters, it's Claire from Springworth. And if you have strips like these, trimmings from maybe getting the block the wrong size, that are less than 1/2 inch, and you're like, I know I can't patchwork that because I'll lose it all in seam allowance, then I have a project for you. That is these cute fabric gift bows. So this is 5.5 of those strips. And it is so easy. Like, this is the easiest project I think I have ever done, but also one of the cutest. So go and raid your scraps and go and get your strips, and I'm going to walk you through step by step how we're going to make these. So I've just emptied out my jar of scraps and offcuts, and I'm separating out these triangles that I think I want to do something with, that are from the hexagons. And then I'm looking for the strips to make the bows. These ones are going to be too thin, so I'm looking for something with, probably this is probably about my minimum width. What's that? 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. And I do want some length because it is going to be looped back on itself. So my minimum length is probably this, which is 2 inches. Like, even that is going to be pretty small if I do loop it. So that's the minimum. These would be trimmings from the back of a quilt, and I have heaps of these blue ones because I cut the squares the wrong size when I made a topper. So I'll give this a good iron, and I realize this is probably a good project for your selvages. So I'll give these an iron and see what I have to work with. So this is what I've ended up with. I have a heap of the blue all around the same length and width. Some really long strips of this mauve, a little bit of grey, sufficient red. I think I'll probably put the red and white together. So this bow is 5 strips, and you can kind of see them. So the top and bottom are a single strip with a double fold in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one hiding at the back, with a curl in the middle just to, you know, top it off and hide what's happening in the middle. So simply you're going to take some strips. These ones are just under 6 inches, just under an inch, 1/2 inch, and there's a bit of a variety in there. And you're going to fold it back on itself, but we're not going to fold it over like that. Instead, we're going to bring the 2 flat sides together. So we're going to kind of pull it around a corner, and you can see it forms that loop at the top. And what you want to do is you want to kind of find the middle approximately. Like, these don't have to be perfect. So find the middle, and then do that kind of around the corner motion, and then cross the middle, and that'll give you kind of a nice even bow. Then flip it around and do the same. And if you go the same way around the corner, as it were, you just want to overlap those 2 ends in the back so that you have something to secure them with. And I'm simply just going to put a couple of stitches in the middle. Now you can do this on the sewing machine. I could obviously just do this by hand, just to make sure that that's secure. There's a nice overlap and a nice bow. You can just adjust this if it kind of seems bigger on one side than the other, but I'm pretty happy with how that sits. So let me sew that together. And then you're simply just going to repeat that process. And you do want to, if you can, get a little bit of variety in length so that the bows kind of get smaller as you work your way in. And there is a bit of a width to length ratio. Like, I've got this thick strip, which would be difficult to go around the corner twice. But I can go around the corner once, and then I can pair it on the other side with another one that also goes around the corner. So you see, I can get a nice bow with 2 pieces if they're shorter and thicker, whereas a long thin piece will go around the corner twice. And you do want to find a balance so that you've not got a big gaping hole in the center. So there's a bit of experimentation and play with finding what you like. And I think that's the key, finding what you'll be happy with. If you'll be happy with the bow like looking like that, then obviously go ahead and make the bow with that. So let me put together a couple and then I will come back and show you how to stack the bow. So I put 6 bow swirls, I guess, in this one and just tried to arrange them. So I tried to arrange them in 2 layers. See if I can take the top 3 layers off. So they're kind of on thirds. And then the top layer was on thirds, just kind of twisting around, and just, they really are intended to overlap. And when I've sewn it, I've simply just sewn a straight stitch along and then reversed back just to give a little bit of security. And then we're going to put a curl in the center, and this is the opportunity to use the pieces that are potentially just too short. So all the curl is just to fold it around on itself. And then you're just going to sew through that overlap and I'll trim off that extra, but I just want to check if that's a good size. That seems like a good size. And this part is where you get to do the hand sewing. So you're going to sew through those 2 layers, keeping the loop, and then you're going to sew that onto the back. Then just to neaten up the back, I have this very rough felt circle, and I've actually left a channel because I would like to run a ribbon through here. And there you have one finished bow. Now, if you're thinking, Claire, I'm going to be driven mad by the loose edges, then I have a solution. I'm going to make up another one, and that is to have a pinking sheared edge or a scalloped edge. So I have, this is a pinking shearing blade that I cut those with on the rotary cutter, or you can also get the scalloped edge scissors. I got these pretty cheaply off the internet, which will create that scalloping. There we are then, my 3 finished bows, whether you like the scrappy with the raw edge or the neatened up or the mixed colours. And I will say it was easier to work with the single width than with the variable width. This one didn't turn out quite as well, so I'll probably have another go at that one. But experiment and see what works with the scraps that you have. Obviously, I said this could work perfectly with selvage, which is totally true, and with even like a paper, but I will say I don't think it would work with a patterned fabric, as in if you took one where they weren't the same or mostly the same on both sides, because as you make the turn in that figure 8, you're going to end up with one side that just isn't as patterned, whether that is, you know, the outside of the bow or the inside of the bow. So I think a solid or something with something on both sides is gonna work better, but experiment with what you have. These scraps for me really are too small to do much else with at this point. And I love those bows, adds to the handmade fabric wrapped present. Hope you enjoyed this quick and easy project to use up your scraps. If you haven't, check out my other scrappy projects. We have the scissors pouch, we have the ornaments or gift tags, and heaps of other things. I love using up scraps. Nothing goes to waste. That is my philosophy. And thanks for watching Springworth. If you've loved this video, give us a like, subscribe, and check out the membership. So I have a membership coming up called Stitchable Co, where we do all things with a needle.